Senior Vice President at Texport Industries Private Limited, Mr. Gaurav Sharma.
The transformational leadership was that how do we satisfy a customer who wants to engage with you for business, and how do we ensure that the product which he's originally buying from China is procured from other places.
That was brilliantly practical. I loved how you linked just ritual to hard metrics. It turns relationship into a repeatable advantage.
And global standards these days are very transparent thanks to all the tools which are available. There are experts available who can help us climb that ladder faster in a more effective and an efficient manner.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders, the podcast series brought to you by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi, and today we have the distinct honor of speaking with an exceptional leader. Our guest today is a seasoned professional with over 23 years of experience in global fashion management. He has played a pivotal role in scaling brands, driving strategic initiatives, and fostering key partnerships across Asia, Europe, and the America. We are privileged to welcome Mr. Gaurav Sharma, Senior Vice President at Texport Industries Private Limited, to the podcast. Mr. Sharma, your expertise spans market intelligence, operational excellence, and strategic sourcing, and he has led high-impact transformations within the fashion and supply chain sectors. So, Mr. Sharma, thank you for joining us today. It is a true pleasure to have you on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you very much, Sunny.
Okay, so every distinguished leader has a unique story, one that often begins long before the title of a leader is attained. So could you kindly walk us through the early stages of your career and share the pivotal moment when you realized that leadership was the path for you?
Sunny, you rightly said that there's a long story behind any successful leader. I don't know how successful I am yet, but what I feel that my childhood was spent in the agrarian state of Punjab. So every 6 to 8 weeks, I could see change of colors around me. Punjab, as you know, is globally famous for food. It's famous for music, and it is famous for colors. So I think that set a backdrop to whatever I do. It has to be colorful, it has to be evolving, and it has to have the nature around us taken into confidence, taken into consideration for anything which you want to pursue going forward. I hail from the Manchester of India called Ludhiana. So manufacturing was ingrained to me even before I started writing paragraphs in English. The unyielding spirit of that city still drives me to reach global clients, global stakeholders, work on the complex fashion supply chain. And when you say the pivotal moment, I think the pivotal moment was when I moved to Hong Kong to lead a multicultural, multidisciplinary field of professionals. So I had in my team people from France, people from Philippines. That something gave me that confidence that if we can manage the human resource well, we can scale any height, any times of challenge, any times of growth, any type of aspirations. Hong Kong happened to be the speed board for me to take this journey of fashion and fashion management to 30 plus countries across both continents. So when I look backward, I see that whatever I do today is thanks to the unyielding spirit of Hong Kong.
Okay, so that was such an authentic reflection, Mr. Sharma.
Thank you very much.
All right, so moving ahead, your deep understanding of geopolitics has likely contributed to your success, particularly in managing sourcing and supply chain across various regions. So could you explain how your knowledge of geopolitics has helped you navigate challenges and seize strategic opportunities within fashion management?
Well, you have touched my favorite subject. I think anything which helps in geopolitics affects the entire supply chain of fashion. So I'll take you back to Hong Kong. When I moved to Hong Kong, that was the year 2008, and we were courtesy of the uh, mismanagement at the housing level in US, we had the recession coming in. So everybody was talking of everyday low prices, everyday faster supply chain, because we were not sure of what the market is going to perform. So in 2008, I think the biggest challenge to manage these kind of uh, external environment was to move the supply chain and diversify the supply chain. Earlier, the focus was only China, and then China plus one became a very obvious choice. So procurement started from countries outside China, countries where inherently there was not much of production. I'm talking about places like Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Vietnam, so on and so forth. So I personally feel that any trigger in the Western country has a tsunami kind of an effect on what we do and how we do. So, what, when I look in hindsight, what it looks now as a transformational leadership was actually we were thrown out of a plane and we were without a parachute. We have to learn, we have to adapt, and we have to ensure that we survive. So, in those challenges, when you grow up, when you have your foundation in your career with situations which are beyond your control, then I think you learn the hard way. And I think that the external environment happens to be your best teacher.
Absolutely, Mr. Sharma. And what I loved was how you brought geopolitics down from being this abstract subject to something that really impacts every single item on the store shelf.
Yes, Sunny, if I can say that there are a lot of similarities between what we are facing from the US tariffs today to what it was about 15 years ago. We used to have Mexico as a country who would say that we can buy anything and everything as long as it's not from China. And at that time, there were countervailing duties of as high as 200%. So, as I said, the transformational leadership was that how do we satisfy a customer who wants to engage with you for business, and how do we ensure that the product which he's originally buying from China is procured from other places, produced and manufactured as per the standards in the same time frame, in the same price points. So we have faced challenges like this, and as I said, it is all boils down to the team with which you work. And if everybody is on board and we have all the hands on the deck, we can surpass any challenge, any kind of an obstacle.
Absolutely, absolutely, Mr. Sharma. So, as the senior vice president at Texport Industries, you have played an instrumental role in several successful expansion and partnerships. What has been your strategy for building strong long-term relationship with international clients and vendors? And how do you ensure operational excellence in these partnerships?
Well, Sunny, in this case, you have to see manufacturing as the backbone of a country. So when you're looking at manufacturing, there are three key drivers which drive manufacturing. A, the skill set. B, the standard operating procedures. And C, the joint ventures and collaborations where some countries are ahead of you in the curve and you do not want to make the same mistakes as you go forward. So my goal was to address all these three. My goal was to bring technocrats into decision making rather than being on the back end. I would engage with the clients directly, either traveling to them, visiting them, or inviting them to our premises. We are a 16,000 plus workforce. We operate from 13 factories across 4 states. So we are managing a very complex supply chain. But when you are transparent and when you're open with the external stakeholders, it gives them a lot of confidence. And I'm talking specifically to non-US business. I'm talking to business, I'm reaching out to business in Australia, in Japan, in Turkey, in UK, in Germany, where we have some kind of a preferential duty benefit. For example, to Japan and Australia, we are at a zero tariff. So there is no reason for us not to be able to compete with other Asian manufacturing partners from for in the fashion side of the business. And I believe the same factor will apply for whether it is pharma, whether it is semiconductors. You must be reading in the news that we are now the one of the largest producers of iPhones in the country. So Make in India, which came as a concept where everybody was not very sure in 2013-14, has borne result in a decade. We have seen the manufacturing excellence of Japan took 50 years. Similarly, is for Taiwan and for China. And I think we are sitting at a cusp at which there are a lot of emerging opportunities for India. It's how we grab them and how we take it forward.
Absolutely, Mr. Sharma, and that was brilliantly practical. I loved how you linked just ritual to hard metrics. It turns relationship into a repeatable advantage.
Absolutely. And I believe that these three factors you can see across the manufacturing sector, no matter what field you put in, whether you put it in the pharmaceutical business, whether you put it in electronic manufacturing, that you have this talent and the skill, which is the human resource available to you. You have the international benchmarks, which helps you define your SOPs. And then you have the JVs with partners who are able to help you reach to the destination faster. I'm not a believer of jugaad, what we usually use a term in India. I am a firm believer that if my next user in the supply chain is my customer, and if I'm able to satisfy his requirement, the ultimate product which is produced matches to the global standards. And global standards these days are very transparent thanks to all the tools which are available. There are experts available who can help us climb that ladder faster in a more effective and an efficient manner.
Rightly said, Mr. Sharma. I'd like to ask you, you have witnessed the fashion industry evolve, particularly with growing consumer demand for sustainability. So, how do you perceive sustainability's role within the fashion sector? And what steps have you taken to ensure the brands you work with align with global sustainability standards?
Yes, sustainability is not a buzzword. My association on this front starts from my graduation in environmental sciences. So we could see the impact of chemicals and fertilizers versus the original ways of agriculture. And we could see that going forward, this practice is not sustainable. In the early 2000s, we were able to offer to the customers as the names like Nike and so on, who were interested in organic cotton. Then organic cotton moved towards fair trade cotton. Then fair trade cotton moved towards non-usage of chemicals. So the journey has been there with India because India is one of the countries in Asia which is vertical. So right from the raw material to the finished product, especially in the field of fashion, you can offer from one country itself. After China, that's the only country which comes to my mind. All other countries, I would say, are more of a converter countries. So India has its own set of advantages, and ESG goals which have come in, on which India is also a signatory. Uh, Fashion is considered to be one, if not the biggest, one of the biggest polluters on the globe. And I personally don't want to leave this planet for the next generation in which they say the decisions taken by our seniors and ancestors were not good. So I feel it is more of a personal cause. I am thankful to my graduation, which is perfectly linked towards fashion. In anything which we talk about, E, the first component of ESG, has to be with respect to the environment and has to be with respect to what initiatives we take to ensure in the long run we are not greenwashing the subject. We are actually dealing a meaningful solution. We are able to create value for the customer. I'll give you a very beautiful example. Just in a span of about 15 to 18 months, we have developed Kasturi cotton in India. It's a blockchain certifiable cotton. So in this, any customer, if he sees the tag of a Kasturi cotton, he knows that right from the raw material to the finished product, it has gone through due diligence and it is something which he can follow. Definitely there will be some improvement going forward. It's an evolution. We don't have all the solutions right now, but if there is a conscious approach by the brands, by the manufacturers and the supply chain partners, I think we can achieve or rather surpass the ESG goals laid out for a country with a population of 1.4 billion plus.
Absolutely, Mr. Sharma. And I love the analogy you used. It really captures how sustainability is more of a long-term game than a quick win.
Absolutely. And it is not limited only to cotton. The wool, which is taken from Australian subcontinent, has has the potential, or there has already been trials, and it can, you can verify from which farm it has been taken. So it is not putting a chip. It is the raw material which is used by a scanner, and it verifies the origin of the raw material. Now, when the origin is certified, subsequently all the steps are under proper channels of production, and ultimately you might not have an exact perfect product in one go, but in the span of 6 months to say about a year and a half, you have covered a lot of distance which is more meaningful to the end user, culling out all the confusion and greenwashing which is prevalent in this field.
Great, great, Mr. Sharma. All right, so let's dive into a fun and light-hearted segment we call as the rapid fire round. So are you in for it?
Thank you very much. So let's start with your rapid fire session.
Yes, so here I shoot you with the first question. Okay, so if you could switch lives with anyone for a day, who would it be?
There'll be two people who come to my mind. One is our external affair, Mr. Jaishankar, purely because of the diplomacy and the way he has been able to build the image around the country, a positive image. Second person on the strategist side is the Prashant Kishore, the gentleman who is trying to transform Bihar. So if I'm able to get 2 days and able to switch lives with these two gentlemen, I think it will add a great contribution to my journey.
Great. Moving on to the next question. What's your guilty pleasure when it comes to food?
Interesting, very interesting. At any point, if I am thinking of some idea, some concept, some odd, and if I get some sweet to eat, so not only gives me energy boost, it also gives me that guilt factor that I should not have too much of it. But yes, sweets anytime.
Okay. If you had to pick one superpower, what would it be and why?
Oh, well, my definition of superpower is a country which will be relevant even after 2, 3, 4, 5 decades. And for that, it will be Japan. I find that their cultural values, their mindset, their approach is very organic. They are the best of the manufacturers. You look at Nikon, you look at Canon, you look at Toyota, Honda, you will see exemplary products from them. But at the same time, they're very humble. Uh, the atomic bomb has changed their approach towards civilization, I would say, not towards humans as such, towards civilization. So a country has taken a 180-degree turn, and it impresses me on multiple fronts.
Amazing. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Good. If weather permits, the first thing I would like to see is the sunrise. I'll stand in my balcony and I get a good under 20-degree view of a sunrise. It's beautiful. Every 2 minutes, the colors are changing. So it brings back to where my childhood was, change of colors from green fields to the golden brown color of the wheat, and the yellow color when the mustard and saffron is blooming. So yes, sunrise. Sunrise will be the first thing I would like to do in the morning.
Lovely, lovely. My next question to you, what's your go-to comfort activity after a long day?
While I was in Hong Kong, I was staying very close to the airport. So the planes landing and planes taking off before I go to bed was one activity which I could see from my balcony. I don't have that privilege and luxury here in India. I'm quite far from the airport. So I usually go to the train side and I see the trains crossing by. And I see the improvement from a goods train to the Vande Bharat and Tejas, which has come in India. Uh, great improvement. So yes, if I get time before, then I go towards that side and see them pass by.
Okay, unexpected one. All right, so the next question is, if you could travel anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would you go?
Why the world? I would love to go to space. I want to see the Earth and the Moon from space. I have seen that it has transformed a lot of people who have gone in this direction, who have seen how we are hanging with nothing around us. So I want to get that experience firsthand.
Okay. And what's the most recent song or playlist you have had on repeat?
Good question. Good question. Well, I speak and understand 5 languages. And one of the language which I like, which is also my mother tongue, is Punjabi, both the Indian side of Punjab as well as the west side of Punjab. There is a singer who is no more, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. His song "Tum Ek Gorak Dhanda Ho." So it tells you about what is visible, what is invisible. It's a philosophical 30 minutes Sufi song. And these days I'm listening to that.
Great choice. All right. So the last question of the rapid fire round: what's one thing you cannot live without?
The obvious answer is air, but more realistic answer for me is passion. Anything I do, whether I play tennis or I swim or I travel, meet international stakeholders, develop some new product, conceptualize some new ideas, passion, an underlying factor. If I'm not involved, I'm not there. So passion is the one factor which I really can't live without.
Great, great. So, Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for those entertaining answers, and you have definitely brought some fun into the conversation. All right. So, moving on to the other side of the questions, which is about the challenges that the industry faces. So, Mr. Sharma, in your extensive experience managing global supply chains and sourcing, one issue that has come to light in recent years is the prevalence of fake supply chains.
Yes.
And some suppliers claim to be a part of established global supply network, even going so far as to misrepresent certifications like sustainability credentials. So, have you ever encountered such challenges? And how do you ensure that the partners you work with truly adhere to the ethical and sustainability standards they claim to? Also, what steps can leaders take to safeguard against sourcing from non-compliant or unethical suppliers?
Sunny, this is a complex question, and I will need some time to elaborate. What looks as an outcome, as a final product in terms of fashion, is a simple shirt or a trouser. But there are so many hands involved. There are so many vendors, suppliers, that it is one of the most complex supply chain I have ever known. You compare any other, whether it is related to food or it's related to electronics, there are challenges. But out here, the human interface and the human interaction is so much that things become complex. And when it is the race towards the bottom in terms of the prices, then sustainability goes on a back burner. I know it's not going to last long. Ultimately, everybody will come down to meeting the international goals, international standards. ESG has done a great job into that. But let me elaborate this a little bit. There are close to about 7,000 garment factories in Bangladesh. Now, there is no one standard which covers them all. So we have American standards, we have European standards, we have Japanese standards. So even as a vendor, a manufacturer, he or she does not have that confidence that he's able to meet all those standards globally. And fashion originates from all parts of the world. The chip is made in Taiwan, the yarn is made in China, the fabric is made in China, then it comes to Vietnam, there the garment is being made, then it is shipped to Europe. So Europe, or for that matter, any other country like America or Canada or Australia. It is very hard for any single agency to cover all this length and width of this supply chain. The best approach is that if we are able to educate, we are able to change the mindset, the approach of all these vendors to do things transparently. This is something which we have to do as a national level, at the province level, at the city level, and at the individual factory level. It will take a lot of time and it requires a mindset change to completely answer the fashion supply chain. Otherwise, it's more like a policing situation where you're afraid of the inspector or the auditor. You make some on the surface kind of changes, which is neither sustainable nor helpful. So there are agencies who are working on it. We had the infamous incident of Rana Plaza, where more than 1,000 people lost their lives in Dhaka. It's a deplorable situation, but it was a wake-up call. It was a wake up call for Accord to be signed, for the factories who are dealing in fashion to be part of a system which develops a framework, which builds up a guideline, a system which needs to be followed before you even interact with the global brands and retailers. But I'm not limiting myself to the global brands and retailers. I'm talking about a national policy. What is the national policy of ours versus the Southeast Asian countries? That anything which is produced in the field of fashion is sustainable. Sometimes it's not expensive. Sometimes it's just about the awareness, the knowledge, the common sense which is required, which at times in the race to produce apparel, fashion, and the related components of it, we miss out. So if we are able to create that awareness, the change can be monitored, the change can be tabulated, and the change can be in a period of time can be captured. And I feel that the brands are already making a lot of effort. They are already initiating a lot of incentives in terms of promoting only those vendors who are meet to certain standards. But I think it's a two-way process. It's not that top-down approach. It has to be bottom-up approach also, where the participating vendor sees it in the long run for his growth, for his sustainability as a company. Because a lot of otherwise the companies will perish, and that will be a huge loss for the human factor involved in this side of the business.
Mr. Sharma, the way you described the balance between commercial temptation and ethical responsibility really hit home, and I really appreciated your honesty there.
Yes, it's a complex challenge. Sorry, we understand the different parts, different components of it. I think the need is to bring all those parts, all those components together, so that we are able to see some tangible result at the and for the efforts which we are making in this field. Uh, I firmly believe that together we are able to bring all under one umbrella, communicate what is the bigger goal on this, and less of policing and more of involvement is what I feel will be a good way forward.
Absolutely, Mr. Sharma. Okay, so this brings us to the last question of the podcast, and here it is. You have recently joined Directors Institute. So, what motivated you to become part of this esteemed community? And how has being involved with Directors Institute influenced your approach to leadership? Could you share your personal experience and any insights you have gained since joining?
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Most part of my career, close to about 15 years, were spent in Hong Kong. So there were a different set of rules and regulations which were monitoring the business out there. So after moving to India, I think the one factor which I wanted more inputs was on the corporate governance, which involved ESG also in a more detailed, or I would say in a more exhaustive form. There were multiple other components which I could see that I am missing out, not because uh, just because I would say I was not present in this demographic. And Directors Institute gave me that platform that along with what I do, I can also learn from the best of the people available, resources which are shared to build on the skill sets which make me more at home, if I have to say, with respect to the Indian set of rules and regulations. Plus, on the leadership side, I think that I have seen that part of the world which is more effective and more efficient. And in the long run, that is what we are all aiming for. When you look at Hong Kong, you feel it is a very well-oiled, seamless machinery, whether it is in terms of transport or in terms of ease of doing business. And that is the way forward for our country as well. So what we can reach and what we are, there is some gap in between. For some, the gap is huge, unfathomable, untenable. For me, I feel there are some quick wins which we can have. There can be some pilot projects which we can have. And Directors Institute is helping me put pillars under those thoughts within the confines of the Indian subcontinent.
Great to hear that, Mr. Sharma, and that was really, really illuminating.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for asking me those things which probably were not getting addressed otherwise.
And Mr. Sharma, thank you once again for sharing your remarkable journey with us today. Your extensive experience in global fashion management, your strategic approach to sourcing, and your commitment to governance and sustainability have provided our listeners with invaluable insights. And your leadership philosophy, of course, which blends operational excellence with a focus on ethical and transparent business practices, is truly inspiring.
Thank you very much, Sunny. Thank you very much for the time.
And to our listeners, we hope today's conversation has not only offered actionable strategies, but also inspired you to lead with purpose, embrace innovation responsibly, and ensure integrity in every aspect of your business. This has been FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi. And until next time, remember, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep leading with integrity. Thank you so much.